What's up, everybody? It's Stephen A. Williams. In today's video, we're going to talk about lead generation. This is one of the biggest questions that I get on YouTube. I get it on LinkedIn. People message me. They're like, I have a business. I'm trying to figure out how to generate more leads, because they know that if you're going to grow your business, you got to constantly have people to talk to. Like, that's just, there's just no other way to do it. You need more customers. And so I talked to them about lead generation, but this word, I think with internet people hear that word a lot more, and I think that more people understand that they need lead generation, and that it's like a possibility for them now, because the internet makes it so easy for you to just pop up an ad, or to try to do free posts or whatever you want to do to get people to be to contact you about your product or service. And but lead generation has been around for years. I've done lead generation on TV. I've done lead generation in newsprint. I can remember running classified ads all across the United States, and like 600-700 papers at a time. And it was just a tiny little ad, and it would have a phone number and tell people to call that number. And I had a voicemail message on there that would get people to leave their information, and I would mail them some information. That was like the hard way to do it back then. And then I had a TV commercial that I've done it two different ways. I've had it where I would advertise and get people to call a number, get their information, and then call them back to try to, to sell them the product or service. And then I've had a straight up infomercial, a 30-minute infomercial, which is like a lead generation in a way, because you're constantly running that commercial over. It was about a 25-minute cycle, but you've seen infomercials, like you're demonstrating, you're talking, and in a sense, it's like lead generation, because what people tend to do with a good infomercial that works is that they'll watch it and get absorbed into it, and they're like, I want that. Like, they listen to you, you demonstrate the product, they listen to you, demonstrate the product, and they're like, I want it. And that's why you'll see with infomercials, if you look at it, most infomercials are the same thing that's just repeated over and over in a different way every 4 to 5 minutes. When I did my infomercial, what I did is I recorded it and then I repeated it. So it was like it played, and then in the middle, it just started right back over again. And what it would do, from what I learned with that, is that it was just like doing a repeat to kind of get people more into the mindset of buying the product or service that I was, at that time, it was a product that I was selling. The internet has made it like, it's like being in a candy store, especially for me. Like, the internet, some of the times I'll pinch myself and be like, the internet is what I had always asked for. Because when I was running those infomercials, it was costing me, in some areas, $1,500 per commercial, and these commercials were running in the middle of the night. And when I was running those classified ads, running in all of those papers, you could do the numbers. Even if it's $3 to $4 per publication, that adds up, and you have to wait for that response. With the internet, it is not the same way. And as a matter of fact, with the internet, you can test one day and know your results the next day. And all you have to do, what I'm going to show you here, is just determine if it fits your numbers. Because some businesses can pay a lot more for a lead. Some businesses cannot pay a lot of money for a lead. And based on your product or services price is what's going to really determine if you can afford to pay for leads. And there's an old saying with marketing: whoever can pay the most for a customer is the person or the company who will win, because they're willing to pay a lot to get a customer. Like, you'll see businesses that'll pay like $25, $100, $500, $1,000 to get a customer. That means that when they're running their lead generation, they are actually willing to pay $1,000 to get that customer. So and I'm going to show you how to figure that out, but they'll say it cost me $1,000 to get that customer. And the reason why they're willing to pay that is because they have a huge back end that might be a $5, $10, $20, $25,000 product on the back end. And that's what pays the bills to be able to continue advertising. Have you ever wondered why the attorneys run their ads? I'd run ads for a lot of attorneys. And why do they run these personal injury ads all over the place? How can they even afford to do that? Reason why they can afford to do it is because they're doing exactly what I just explained to you. They can pay a high number, a high number to get the leads to come in, and they know that they can't get to the settlements unless they get a lot of people to come in. They pre-qualify the people. That costs a certain amount of money. They have that determined in their budget. We're willing to pay this amount per lead, and then what they would consider a sale. And my attorney friends, I know you don't like saying it's a sale. You don't like using those words, but it's a sale. They make a sale, which is a client that they're going to have a settlement, and they're going to get 33%. That 33% pays them thousands of dollars, which goes back into their budget and in part into their pocket, into the firm, to pay the bills, to pay themselves. That's how the whole cycle goes. So for lead generation, for beginners and for big companies, I don't know any better way to do it than online right now. You can do it offline, but if you're a small business owner, I don't know why you wouldn't do it online, because you get like a 2-for-1 benefit instantly. So for lead generation, one thing that you need to understand is that when you're running your ad is not to make a sale. I don't even care if you have a storefront. It is not to make a sale. It's to bring people into your store, or it's to get people to show an interest, to raise their hand in what you had to offer. So that's what you have to get used to doing, is making offers, but you need to do that in a lead generation format. So you might be saying, well, Steve, if I have a store and I see companies like Menards and they're saying, well, you could get this snowblower for this price, or you could get this, I don't know, a garden weeder or whatever that stuff at this price. But if you pay attention to what they're doing, pay attention. Now, I want you to watch commercials in a different way now. You will see that even for Menards, which is a huge company in our area, that they're actually doing a lead generation ad. Because let me just tell you their little secret. This probably just goes right over people's head. Save big money at Menards. Save big money at Menards. Some people say it's a jingle. Some people say it's a saying. If you think about it, if you think about the way that they've ran their business, yes, they advertise for stuff to be on sale. And that's just because they have a huge business and they're able to pay a lot of money to get a customer, because they want you to keep coming back as a customer. But if you really think about it, with the lead generation, what they put in the top of people's mind, and for you as a small business owner, I don't suggest that you do it this way, because you don't have that kind of money. You need to be more direct. But an indirect thing that they're doing is they're utilizing the mindset of individuals, which is you want to save money, and save money at Menards. They're not even talking about any product or service. This is ultimately what the whole commercial has been about. Even though people call it a jingle, if you go to marketing school, You'll get a better understanding of how that works. But start paying attention to all of the companies and see what they're doing. They're either getting top of mind to where if you want to save money, you come to us. That's the lead generation offer in a sense. Or if you want to have a good experience with utilizing a product, who is one of the best companies with that? Apple. Apple does not sell you the phone. They sell you the experience of using the phone. Pay attention to the next Apple commercial. As a matter of fact, the one that they just played last night during the football game, you got the, lizard that's flipped over, and then the person thought that the lizard died, and then he started texting on the phone, and then the lizard flipped back over, he's alive, and then he was able to recall that text. That's an experience. You see, that goes over people's head. The way that they're not selling you, they're not making you focus on the phone. They're not making you focus on the phone. So when you utilize making your ad for your business, yes, you want people to be qualified leads for what you had to offer. But what you need to do is you need to put something in the way to bring in as many people as possible so you're able to present what you had to offer. So let's just say that you're a business coach. You're a business coach. You want to teach people how they can build their business. So what you could do is you could give them a piece of content that could kind of help them with building their business. But let me tell you the way that most people get it wrong is that they'll put out free content and they have no processes in place to take in that lead. Because if you run your ads and you generate leads, I'm not talking about where the person gives you a message and then it's like it's all over with. You want to get that name, email, and phone. You want to get that because this is money in the bank. This is what lead generation is all about. This is someone who raised their hand, just like the attorney. Everyone who becomes a lead with the attorney's office is not going to be a sale, but everyone that becomes a lead with you, they may not become a sale for what you have now, but because you control that information, you can monetize that information. And it depends on what business you have. Some businesses only want to get the email. Like I have restaurant clients and I tell them just run ads and just generate the emails. And then once you have all the emails, you start to advertise the different specials that you have, a lunch special, dinner special, breakfast special. Because you got that information, you've already paid for them from running your ads. So now that actually brings down your cost of your advertisement because you're able to remarket to these individuals with your autoresponder, which is what, $100 a month, depending on how many leads you have in there. Unlike the attorney situation, the reason why attorneys have to keep running and running and running is because everybody's not going to get in an accident, and they're not going to get in an accident twice. So if they don't pick them, they may not get in an accident ever again and need to go to that office. For your business, they can become a lead now and never, don't buy nothing from you at this point. But because they stayed on your list, you kept remarketing to them, in the future they can end up becoming your customer. That's why it's very important to do lead generation. With my leads for my businesses, I will have people who became a lead months ago, years ago, and all of a sudden become a customer. And that's because they kept getting our email marketing campaigns to them. So now let's talk about some stuff that you need to be aware of, and I'm going to talk about a misconception with lead generation. I don't know. A lot of people don't like talking about that for some reason. So the CPC, cost per click. So let's just say, for instance, you had 100 clicks and it cost you $1 per click. So you just spent $100. The reason why you need to know this number also is because if you don't have anyone clicking your ad, people are not interested in what you had to offer. So if you run your ads, this is like test number one. Am I getting people to click my ad? And depending on my product or service, can I afford that cost per click rate? Like if you have a product that's $29.95, you're not going to really be able to afford $1 a click unless that $29.95 product is something that's consumed and you'll be able to sell it over and over and over again. That's when you'll have a lifetime value for that customer. CPL, the cost per lead. So if you have 100 clicks and let's just say 50 of them become leads, that meant that it cost you 50 cents. Yeah, is that 50 cents per lead? Yeah, 50 cents per lead because you divide that. So can your business afford 50 cents? That would be a low price per lead. And then the next thing is the cost per sale. How much from the leads that you generate, how much is it costing you to make a sale? And let's just say, for example, it costs you $20 per sale. So with your product or service, just based on this right here, would you even be able to support running your business? Like a lot of people find out they can't even support running their business. One of my towing clients that was doing Google ads, and he was like, okay, I'm getting calls in, but when I add up how many calls I got and how many people actually I went out to and did a tow, I'm actually losing money because with the gas and everything, and with the ads and the gas, all of that stuff, I was like, yeah, you need to raise your price. That means that, instead of being $45 a tow, and he took my advice on this, I said, you need to be more at like 110 to 125, because number one, when a person needs to get a tow, it's going to be one of those immediate things, and you need to sell your service based on what's going to be in the interest of that customer. Like, I have a very expensive vehicle, $150,000 vehicle. I don't want just anybody to come pick it up. It needs to be a flatbed. It needs to be a newer flatbed. Like, there's a lot of things that I worry about. I don't just call. So you're willing to be, if you're that type of client, you're going to be willing to pay more because you're more worried about, hey, come to get me out of the situation, but I want to make sure that my vehicle is also taken care of. So I told him, hey, you have the right equipment. You got everything that you need. Don't be afraid to raise your price. So what you need to do, this is just like a little simple exercise. See if your product or service is even able to afford to be able to be at the price that you have, because you might need to raise your price. Another thing, so if you got 10 leads, let's just look at this, just for example. If you have 10 leads and you make one sale, that means you got a 10% closing rate. One of the misconceptions that a lot of people have when it comes to closing their sales, they think that, and I run into this a lot with some of the service companies that I consult with that are new. I don't run into this, the ones that are experienced, is that they think that if they get 10 leads that they have to make a sale out of that batch of 10 leads. Like it has to be a sale out of there. And I tell them that that's why lead generation is important, and a follow-up process is important. Because remember what I said earlier, is that some of the times people get on my list to become a lead and they don't become a customer until, they were on my list 2 months ago, 3 months ago, some a year ago. And because they kept getting my information through the autoresponder, they ended up becoming a client. And this is the thing that I try to prepare business owners for, is that all of this here is your investment and into getting clients, and the clients are going to just lay where they lay. Like, you need to do your best on, if you like, just for example, if you got 10 leads, you need to do your best to contact those 10 leads. Offer, if you're making phone calls to them, or if you're sending emails to them, or sending them to the website, all of that stuff needs to be in place. You need to do your best on that, but don't get stuck with the misconception that the sale has to come out of that batch. The sale will come over time from all of your leads. You just need to do your best on presenting your information to them, if it's either by phone, however you're doing it. It just needs to be done the best that you can do it, and then you will see that sales will start coming in. You just can't get unfocused and start thinking that, okay, I got 10 leads a day, a sale has to come from that group of 10 leads. It doesn't work that way. As a matter of fact, I would say in one of my businesses, probably upwards about 75% of the sales from that business is from leads that are 1 to 2 months old. And the reason why is because they'll go through that. You've heard this if you've been in business. People will not buy from you unless they know, like, and trust. Know, like, and trust gives a feeling inside of an individual, and that feeling makes them more willing to spend their money with you. And they believe that if they go with you because they know, like, and trust, they're going to get the result that they want to get from your product or service. That's just how it goes. So what would be the best way to get an individual that you don't know, that you ran an ad on the internet, they became a lead? What would be the best way to have that know, like, and trust? Is to expose them to your information, like I'm doing with this content here. I get people on my list, I send it out to them and say, hey, I just put a new video up on lead generation. They watch it, they're like, hey, yeah, that was good, or that was okay, or that was great, that's what I'm looking for. It usually just depends on where they're at in their mindset. Some people are like, hey, I'm ready to go do something, and whoever offers that product or service, I'm gonna get it. That's what I call the lucky way of doing business. Like, a lot of people are able to survive in their business right now. Maybe you're one of them, because all you do is you're just, a sale to come to you here and there. You have no mechanism in place that's going to, like, force, and I don't want to say like where you're forcing sales, but a mechanism in place where you have people continually becoming leads, interested in what you had to offer, and then you're presenting to them. It makes your whole business a lot easier when you're running it that way, rather than, hoping someone sends you a message or watches a post that you have and becomes, decides to become a client. Yeah, that works, but you can't scale that. You're going to just be flatlined with your business, and then when things change, you're going to see that you kind of lost control, because the algorithms can always change on these platforms. So I hope you got a lot out of this. If you have interest in learning how to generate leads, say you have a business, you're an attorney, financial, solar, credit repair, home care, whatever business you're in, there is a platform that will work good for your business. And I teach people exactly how to generate leads, no matter what business you have, how to either generate leads, phone calls, website visits, or visits to your store. So thank you for your time. This is Stephen A. Williams, and until next time.